What's your name?
I'm Scott.
Scott. Nice to meet you, Scott. What company are you working for, Scott?
I do not work for a company.
So you're just a Bitcoiner. What's your Twitter handle, Scott?
Skot9000.
Skot9000. I love it. All right, we're just gonna talk Bitcoin here. STOT 9000. See what we get. Boom! Right there. New follow.
Boom,
so tell us all about you, Scott. What brings you to Austin, and how is your summit?
Summit was fantastic, man. This is a good event. I think this is like my fourth one, but I absolutely love it. I'm deeply involved in the Bitcoin mining space, so this is my jam, to say the least. See on my well, I guess on my hat, I work on the Bitaxe project.
Nice. We love the Bitaxe project.
You like the Bitaxe?
Yes, we all do.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Got a friendly crew. Yeah, I'm the instigator of the Bitaxe. I started it, created the ones. It's a big project now. It's a big project. A lot of people are working on it, but it's a fully open source Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's the
first one ever, which is kind of insane because Bitcoin is fundamentally open source. Bitcoin mining is an important part of Bitcoin. We need to have at least some open source options.
So tell me, like, so were you the person that invented the whole spec and like where it was able to figure out? Because my understanding is very much on like not that high, deep. I mean, but like how did you go from knowing that you could just kind of pull a chip from there and then throw it on something as small as a Bitaxe and then lottery mining? Like how did that? Yeah, tell me about how that works. Like, how did that come into?
Well,
being?
Let's see. I'm a Bitcoiner. I've been a Bitcoiner for a long time, but I'm also a electronics engineer. So, working with this stuff has been my bread and butter for a long time.
For your whole life,
mostly? Yeah, my whole professional career for certain. And it was always like, I could do this. I could make one of these. I know, like, technically how they work. And so at some point I was like, I should just give it a shot. Let's see if we can do it. And, like I've done with other non-Bitcoin related electronics projects before, I went on and I Googled it and it was like, how do you do this? And it was like, zero results. No one's doing it. It's all like, secrets, proprietary stuff.
What year was this, Scott?
I think I first started getting into it, I don't know, maybe 2018.
2018, okay.
Something like that. I had a day job, lots of stuff going on, and just kind of farting around with it initially, but kept banging on it, kept trying to figure it out. I had, back in like 2011, 2012, I had done a little bit of Bitcoin mining with FPGAs, which were sort of the precursor to ASICs. And that was cool. That was already open. People were showing how they did it. And so I just took some stuff I learned online and built it. And then, fast forward a few years to ASICs, I kind of wanted to do the same thing. And so I quickly realized that I was on my own and was going to have to reverse engineer how these things worked. The machines that are out there, like on a low level, how do they work? Like, how do you interface with these chips? The chips themselves, those are ASICs. And just start digging in because they're a total black box. And lots of reverse engineering, just trying things, spitting bytes at it so it comes back. Learning a lot about Bitcoin mining, a lot more about Bitcoin mining in the process. And
did you have that one night where you're like, Eureka, I figured it out? Kind of like the Iron Man thing where he like figures out time travel. He's like, I got it.
Yes.
Did you have one of those nights?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that experience?
Yes. So it was literally in the middle of the night, right? I had a day job. So this is definitely a midnight hour kind of thing. And I had been banging on it for a while. I'd actually made a couple PCBs. I had, harvested some chips, some ASIC chips out of different miners. I'm soldering them on there. It wasn't working at all. Like, I was getting nothing. I was like, I'd spent some money on it at this point, like trying to figure out how to do it. And at some point I realized that I had the pin pitch wrong. So these chips, they have a bunch of pins underneath, and that's how you interface them with the circuit board. And there's no spec. So I'm carefully measuring them. And I had measured 0.48 millimeter spacing between the pins.
Okay.
And I thought, that's ridiculous. 0.48. I must be wrong. I must be off because this is like half a millimeter, right? So it's pretty small. I was like, when I was doing this, I was like, 0.48, that can't be right. It's probably 0.5. Like it's a nice round number, right? It's got to be. And there's lots of other chips that have 0.5 millimeter pin spacing. So I had been rolling this whole time with 0.5 millimeter spacing. And at some point I realized, dude, it's actually 0.48 millimeter spacing. And the thing was not working at all. And so I like, oh my gosh, ordered some new boards. They came, I built them up with 0.48 millimeter spacing, and it was like, the world opened up. I'm like, wow. I'm talking to this thing, like, let's go, it's on. And
that's when everything changed.
That's when everything changed. And so now I'm like, I'm not mining, right? This isn't a miner, but for the first time, I'm sending commands to the chip and getting responses.
Oh, wow.
And so now I can go online and be like, look at this. I've made some progress. We're very early days, but I've made some progress. I'm talking to the chip, and it was really cool. Like other folks just started showing up and were like, oh, I've always wanted to do this. Like I'm an expert at mechanical engineering or thermal engineering, or, firmware device development. And they just started showing up. We were all working together. And that's when things started coming together.
That's fantastic. And yeah, you always hear about like the electricity stuff. When they first invented electricity, they saw it on for like 30 minutes. Then it was an hour, and then it was like 24 hours.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Right. And then like their mind just like starts to blow,
just exploding. And we had a cool group of really smart dudes. We're all like, on the internet talking about this, staying up late, like boom, boom, boom. Like I figured this out. And of course we're all like, totally down to share what we're learning, which I think was not really the mindset of people in Bitcoin mining previous to this. And so
this was like the Jiha Woon days, like those days, or what?
Well, I mean, it was, just after the block size wars, right? So
it was still fresh off of that.
Yeah. But, it's becoming clear that Bitcoin mining hardware is big business. And so a lot of big companies are starting to get into this. We're long past the Butterfly Labs, like all that fiasco with them selling their miners, but people still remembered that. But yeah, we essentially started a community around this called the Open Source Miners United, which is just a Discord chat, and people just started showing up. Like we're like, oh my gosh, we got 100 members in here. Oh my gosh, we got 1,000 people in here. And now it's up. We got like 15,000 people in there. So it's so popular.
So where do you think? So I have a Bitaxe. I know a lot of people that have Bitaxes. Like,
awesome.
Where do you see all this going? Like, obviously I'm doing it because I feel like it's my responsibility to run a Bitaxe, just like to run a node, that sort of thing. I feel like it's part of like the toolkit to be a Bitcoiner, that sort of thing. Like, where do you see a lot of this going? Where do you see it kind of heading? Like the future of Bitaxe, it could possibly be. I already feel like it's a big thing already right now.
I mean, I think it's in a lot of ways, it's like this Trojan horse to get people into Bitcoin mining on a more fundamental level, right? Like the Bitaxe is practical. It's cheap enough where you can just buy it and run it in your house. And maybe that's where it stops. But I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, wait, this is kind of cool. Like I'll get another Bitaxe, or I'll get a bigger miner, or like maybe I'll dig into how it works, right? Like from the software point of view, like from the hardware point of view, like modding the heat sinks, new ones with more chips. There's a lot of follow-on projects to the Bitaxe, like the NerdQX and stuff, more chips, bigger screen. So, I see this as getting new miner developers into the scene. And if OSMU is any testament to that, it's working really well. That's one facet. But basically, open source pilling people is into this. Like, I really believe that Bitcoin mining needs to have open source fundamentals, right? Just like Bitcoin does. And the hardware and the firmware that drives this, it deserves to be open source, both for freedom, side of things, but also just because this increases the development so fast, right? When you can get, a dude just screwing around in the middle of the night on this, and he makes something and publishes it, and then someone else sees that and publishes, right? This is where progress on like the capability of miners and the functionality of miners just goes exponential, because everyone's building on it. And, we have this centralization problem in Bitcoin mining hardware because there's only a couple manufacturers, and you know, you kind of have to have an industrial setup to get involved in it. My colleague Tyler, who's the founder of the heat punk movement, you know, his whole idea is like, look, we need Bitcoin miners are perfect hash rate heaters. I think one of the things that's holding back that whole movement is that no one really is making hash rate heaters, right?
What are those, Scott? I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. Do you have one on your Twitter here that we can show?
Well, no, not really. I mean, they don't, like, there's a lot of people who have hacked them, but there's very few, if any, commercial products that you can just go and buy. And I think that's because the hardware ecosystem is so locked down, right? We have only a couple of players in the, you know, major players. They only make the S19s that everyone knows. And so that's kind of my pitch to the people wanting to do hash rate heating here is that, like, look, we need to make miners specifically for space heaters, water heaters, pool heaters, etc. And to do that, we need to make our own custom miners, our own boards. Really? Actually, what you got on the screen
so
there.
Is this kind of the first start of that, where you're using AI to put together like a board, basically?
Yeah. That was an experiment to have AI put together a board. This picture is a fail. That black part is supposed to fit on the footprint below it. So this was a fail. But AI put it together. This project here, StatHat, is just a little thing that allows you to connect like that normal thermostat on your wall in your house to a Bitcoin miner.
Wow, really?
Right? So it's like, you're like, oh man, it's cold in here. You go over to the wall, you like crank that thing up. What that needs to do is tell your Bitcoin miner, you know, start going and heat up this house.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, this was just a little like proof of concept board, and I wanted to try out AI design on it.
Do you think that's going to go? You think there'll be more of these? Do you anticipate there'll be more of these types of attempts with other things in the home that you'll be looking at to do, as far as like using AI and experimenting
100%.
on this stuff?
I mean, it's already changed the game, and it's accelerating things at a crazy rate. It's better at firmware and software, but you know, hardware will get there for sure. I mean, this stuff's going really fast.
Yeah. And so how do you see that kind of fitting into all the different areas, as far as like mining, AI, all the designs on the boards? Like, how do you see that kind of coalescing at some point, or does it all kind of stay separate? Like, how do you see that playing out?
Like, as far like using AI to develop this stuff?
Yeah, just from your view on all this stuff.
I mean, acceleration to the max, right? Like, we're already seeing with AI that, you know, non-developers who have some software goal just bang it out with AI, right? And the same thing will happen with hardware, so that you can, you know, you have some goal. It's you know, AI is tell you like, this is solved with a combination of hardware and software and firmware, and now you can just get it done, right? You don't need to have a team of engineers, full-time engineers. You can. That's a cool picture of us hacking on some miners late night. This is part of the 256 Foundation, which I'm a board member of. But yeah, 256 Foundation is really cool. It's a nonprofit that was started by Rod Rudy out of Bitcoin Park, who also organized the Energy and Mining Summit. But yeah, it's a nonprofit, and it's dedicated to supporting open source Bitcoin mining development. And so what you see on the table there was the first versions of 4 projects that the foundation fit developers to work on. And yeah, that's really cool. Is
that a steak?
That's a steak. So that is a sous vide cooker.
Nice.
Utilizing heat from a Bitcoin miner. But this is
holding temperature.
And holding temperature. Yeah, we ate that. We finished it on the grill, but yeah, we ate that.
That's amazing.
It was delicious.
That's amazing.
And so the cool thing there is that demonstration of the whole stack of 256 Foundation. So we funded projects to make a open source mining hash board. That's with the board on the left there. An open source control board. That's the one on the right, as well as firmware and a pool. So this is running a fully open source stack that we developed at the 256 Foundation to cook a steak, which is amazing. You know, it's a cool but trivial example. But what we're trying to show here is that, like, you can use these things to build products, to build sort of non-standard applications of mining. And it's pretty fun.
That's fun, dude.
Yeah.
That's a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. That's hilarious. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Skot, for coming on and talking about everything. Did you have a good week in Austin?
I did. It's been great here. It's a great town.
Yeah, it's a good town. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else we should bring up before we get to our next guest?
Yeah, I mean, my main thing that I'm hyping these days is the 256 Foundation. We are constantly seeking funding. We're a 100% pass-through organization, so everything that we raise goes to open source Bitcoin mining development. I think we already have added a lot of value to the ecosystem, but that's our mission, is to continue to add value, decentralized, core to Bitcoin mining, which is a very important part of Bitcoin. We obviously fully love AI tools, and putting AI tools to use in developing Bitcoin mining stuff in an open source way.
I'd love to see it. Thank you, Skot. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.